Good morning, afternoon, or good night, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Dion, but you can call me IsBe, and let's talk about last week is the name of the show. It's not me, it comes out weekly. Now, for the first time, we're going to have our nerd news segment up first before our world news segment because this episode will be entirely dedicated to Benny Potter, aka the Comicstorian, a fantastic internet personality who sadly passed away last weekend. We're going to get to more on him in just a bit, but before we do that, we're going to slide over to TalkBe, who has some updates for us. So TalkBe, to you.
Thank you, IsBe. Much love and respect goes out to Benny's friends and family. We know that we can't do too much, but we hope that you are doing okay in this troubling time. Now, last time we talked about how Eminem was releasing an album called The Death of Slim Shady. Well, he has since released a single for it called Houdini, and the reception was complicated, with many millennials getting really annoying because Gen Z was upset at this single because they can't handle Eminem. Once again, without realizing how old they and Gen Z are, because every single Eminem album has been released whilst Gen Z was alive, with all of his big albums being released while they were at least 10. However, despite the cringe that the millennials bring to the table, there was backlash by a certain demographic after M said in his song, "If I were to ask Megan Thee Stallion if she would collab with me, would I really have a shot at a feat?" Which is, of course, referencing Megan being shot at by Tory Lanez, who is currently serving his 10-year prison sentence for that incident. Now, personally, I don't think that was much of a jab or a diss, as it was a shout out of the situation, but let us know what you guys think. In other celebrity news, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have been in the news for the past few weeks as they have allegedly been considering getting a divorce. Since these rumors have started, J-Lo has canceled her summer tour to spend time with her family, despite many assuming that it was due to the lack of ticket sales, and the couple has put their Beverly Hills mansion that they bought back in 2023 back on the market. Now, at this point, neither of them have commented on the state of their marriage, so these are technically all baseless rumors, but let us know if you think that J-Lo and Ben Affleck are getting their second divorce down in the comments. Now, speaking of female cockblockers, Taylor Swift has made an extreme amount of enemies since the last time we talked about her. Of course, the last time being when she released her album, The Tortured Poets Department. Well, she has since released 36 different versions of this album, all with malicious intent to stop Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, and Charlie XCX from claiming #1 spots on the Billboard charts. Billie having released her album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, and that album being stopped at #2 after Taylor released 3 limited edition variants of the Tortured Poets Department the same day that Billie dropped her album, making it the first time that Billie did not get a #1 spot since her career started in 2019. Sabrina Carpenter's new hit single, Please, 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 getting blocked after 2 more Tortured Poet Department variants got released, and if you think that those are coincidences, Charlie XCX recently got blocked on the UK's top charts after Taylor had released 2 more editions specifically for UK streaming. Now, this has made many consumers mad, as it's obviously not only just disrespectful from an artistic point of view, but just from an ethical human being point of view, to stop another artist from reaching the #1 spot because you didn't want to step down. Now, Swifties have come to the very logical conclusion that if these artists can't get ahead, that's simply because they're not as good as Taylor Swift. But that's like saying that my small family-owned pizzeria isn't as good as Pizza Hut across the street because Pizza Hut had more profit than me last year, while actively ignoring the fact that Pizza Hut profits are from across their 7,000 stores across the United States. Now, while you Swifties go ahead and defend Taylor's ethics in the comments, another celebrity with questionable morals is Jake Paul, who is still planning on fighting Mike Tyson later this year. Tyson recently had an unspecified medical issue, which led to his team postponing his highly anticipated fight with Jake Paul that will be available to stream on Netflix from July 20th, which was just in about a month from now, to the new date of November 15th, giving Tyson slightly less than a quarter of the year to recover, which is the same amount of time that Jake Paul will need to recover after he gets punched in the face by Mike Tyson. Now, to step on the toes of nerd news a little bit, we recently have talked about the new Peacock television show based on the same universe as The Office. Well, that show officially has a name, which is The Paper, as the show will be taking place at a dying newspaper publication. John Turtletub, the director and producer for both National Treasure movies and the producer for National Treasure TV show that was on Disney Plus, and the director for the Nicolas Cage-led Sorcerer's Apprentice, says that National Treasure 3 is currently being written, despite the fact that just a few weeks ago, Nicolas Cage said that National Treasure 3 wouldn't happen because Disney didn't want it to happen. Now, the initial reaction might be that National Treasure 3 won't have Nick Cage, but John Turtletub has already said that Nick Cage is absolutely going to star in this trilogy, so let us know in the comments who you think is telling the truth here. Speaking of telling the truth, last time we mentioned that Disney and Marvel wanted the next Avengers movie to have only 6 members to replicate the feeling of the original Avengers movie, which had the 6 members. However, that seems to be false, as we are now getting reports that the Avengers are planning 60 different cast members for the next movie, which would make it the largest Marvel project to date. And speaking of large Marvel projects, the highly anticipated Deadpool and Wolverine movie is tracking $200 to $239 million opening release domestically, making it not only one of the biggest box office openings ever, but confirmatively the biggest box opening for an R-rated movie in movie history. Now, for our final update, we had previously mentioned that Ariana Grande and Taron Egerton were the ones being eyed for the Russo brothers' TikTok-inspired live-action Disney version of Hercules Remake in the roles of Meg and Hercules. However, this is even worse now because allegedly Austin Butler and Dua Lipa are allegedly being eyed for the roles, and for the love of God, Disney, just hire actors. With that disappointing news out into the world, we bring it back to you, IsBe.
Thank you, TalkB. Now, don't feel too bad because, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, we're going to be doing our Nerd News segment first today, and NerdBe's going to give you more information on why. NerdBe, to you. Thank you, IsBe. Today, I bring Nerdum an extremely unfortunate news that Benny Potter, a.k.a. the Comicstorian, has passed away. According to the police report, he was in a one-man car accident. No one else was hurt. He was wearing his seatbelt, but other details about the crash have not been out yet. Our hearts go out with him and his family, as he had so much more life to give. He had so many wonderful ideas to bring to this world, and this was just an unfortunate accident that took his life way too soon. We here at B World are extremely grateful for him, as Comicstorian got us to where we are today. So we will miss him very, very much. Now, as usual, we have an extreme amount of nerd news to get through, so let's try to do it as quickly as possible before more information comes out and I have to change the script again. DC Comics have announced a 4-issue limited series titled Plastic Man No More that will allegedly explore the end of the character as he reflects back on his life. In other book news, Suzanne Collins is releasing another Hunger Games book titled Sunrise on the Reaping. Now, this book will take place 40 years after the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, meaning that it is the 50th Hunger Games and is the second quarter quell famously won by fan favorite character Haymitch Abernathy, who was played by Woody Harrelson in the original Lionsgate films starring J. Law and Josh Hutcherson. Now, this is a super anticipated story within the fandom, as fans of the franchise have wanted to explore Haymitch's character and the Hunger Games that he won for many, many years. Because the Hunger Games that he won, as I said, was the second quarter quell, which, if you're not familiar with the franchise, is basically a special edition of the games in universe to celebrate the district's defeat. So the Capitol tries to make the games as crazy as possible. That's what the second Hunger Games was about, right? With this one we'll be reading about, it is the second quarter quell, and so the districts had to send twice as many tributes as they normally do. Now, this is such an anticipated story that Lionsgate has already greenlit a movie based on the book, the one that hasn't come out yet. And the book will be coming out March 18th next year, 2025, with the movie coming out November 20th of 2026. Now, in other news, Oscar is apparently considering a stunt category, which everyone agrees is like 20 years too late. And honestly, I feel like they consider a stunt category every like other year at this point. But let us know what you think. Will they actually give stunts a category? Also, certain studios want The Bear, Hulu's original show starring Jeremy Allen White, to shift over to Best Drama Series rather than Comedy Series, as The Bear is so good, none of the other comedies really have a chance. However, the TV Academy hates this, as The Bear has 22-minute episodes as opposed to 42-minute episodes, which, yes, is the legitimate reason, stupid reason, but the reason. Jordan Peele has allegedly met with Marvel about potentially directing an X-Men film. But it also reportedly fell through within like 72 hours of the announcements, with many people not understanding how, because it's Jordan Peele, one of the only directors the general audience actually knows of and they actually like. I mean, he has an outstanding record thus far. And in other Marvel director news, Sean Levy is apparently in talks to direct the next Avengers movie. Sean Levy currently directing Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, this isn't confirmed, as Marvel is still looking around at directors, which sounds like something a guy you've been hooking up with for 6 months says when you ask, what are we? But anyways, also, a man named Optimus Prime. He lived in Texas and he was arrested for car theft. There's literally no more to that story. I just thought it was funny. Eric Kripke has confirmed that Chance Perdomo's character in Gen V will die the next season in a respectful and emotional way, as to not replace the character, but give him an honorable way out. This is, of course, because Chance Perdomo passed away in real life in a motorcycle accident just a few months ago. Also, in other Amazon news, The Boys Season 4, the first 3 episodes dropped with a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes as of recording this, and Eric Kripke has confirmed that Season 5 will officially be the end of the story for The Boys. But they will probably develop more stories within universe, including continuing Gen V, The Boys Mexico, which is presumably still in production, and perhaps we'll even get another season of Diabolical, which I really hope for. Also, Time Magazine released an actual magazine, which they titled Homelander Hero of the Year, and they gave him an interview. Homelander also did a Reddit AMA, and they actually created a real website that Homelander linked several times in the MMA called soupporn.com. That basically lets you explore all the sex toys based on the characters. In great detail, went into it, where they asked you if you were 18 before allowing you to enter the site, with the Starlight and Translucent toys discontinued based on the plot of the show, which is just hilarious marketing all around. Now, moving on to movie news. Young Avengers is allegedly set to begin filming next year. Now, we did mention last time that they were considering a movie, but it apparently has officially gone into pre-production. Warner Brothers is also to move forward with Barbie 2, with or without Greta Gerwig's involvement, and honestly, does she really need to be involved? Because let's be honest, the only thing that she really brought to the table was the most controversial scene in the entire film. Now, the new Wallace and Gromit film coming to Netflix later this year, a teaser was released for it, and it looks really good, but this could potentially be the last film of its kind, as the studio that makes the clay for the stop-motion film that Aardman Animation uses shut down last year, and of course, finding replacements for this specific special clay is not the same thing as going down to your local Walmart and replacing your snack collection. Also, a Pharrell Williams biopic is coming out later this year in October, and many people are excited for it, as it is going to be a Lego movie. So this will mark new territory for both Lego movie and biopics. Maybe more people will have more fun biopics coming out. Also, speaking of new territory, Plankton will be getting a standalone movie coming to Netflix later this year, continuing Nickelodeon's dance battle that they hold on top of Steven Hillenburg's grave. Also, Andrew Stanton will be directing Toy Story 5. Now, he is the director for WALL-E and Finding Nemo, so he has a pretty good track record. And in other Pixar news, Inside Out 2 opening day gained $62 million, making it the third largest opening for an animated film ever behind The Incredibles 2 and The Lion King. So Disney's just taking over again. Also, in other movie money news, Bad Boys Ride or Die debuted with $104.6 million worldwide, gaining immediate profit as the budget was $100 million. And of course, this was highly unexpected as Bad Boys was only predicted to make about $50 million, and the summer box office in general was highly expected to underperform. But with these two movies doing so well, the box office has been great, and Bad Boys 5 is currently being discussed. Also, Jan DeMange will no longer be directing Blade. He is the second director to leave the project, along with a slew of writers, with Shelby Weiser, Marsha Ali's attorney, coming out and saying that it has been the most insane thing that she has seen in her entire professional career, which makes sense considering that the movie was announced back in 2019. They signed the contract pre-pandemic, and they haven't even started filming yet. Also, the first 7 Saw movies are available on Disney+, which made a lot of people laugh because while we do understand the Hulu acquisition, Saw is probably one of the least Disney-friendly franchises to ever exist, behind like The Human Centipede and Song of the South. Also, in other Disney news, Disney acquired, or made a deal rather, with Dwayne Johnson's studio, $7, and apparently they're going to make a bunch of movies, presumably with a lot of them, if not all of them, to star Dwayne Johnson. Also, the last movie news that we have is that Derek Connolly, who is the writer for Jurassic World, will be writing the script for the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. Now, moving on to TV news, One Piece, the Netflix adaptation, will have seasons 2 and 3 filmed back to back. This is presumably because they don't want the actors to seem too different in between seasons, which is totally not a thing that they do on Netflix shows, I'm sorry. Also, Michael Rosenbaum said at the 2024 Nashville Comic-Con that him and Tom Welling are still working on that Smallville animated series. It's just taking time because they wanted to get it right, which I totally respect. Also, Eric Dane says that Euphoria will probably be back in 2025, since 2024 is obviously off the table. And Alec Baldwin is to star in a TLC show, since he has like 25 kids. Shooting happened in October of 2021, and the show should start filming sometime soon. Motel Transylvania, a sequel series to the Adam Sandler movies, will be on Netflix in 2025. Arcane Season 2 had a teaser trailer. Smiling Friends and My Adventures with Superman were both renewed for third seasons. Netflix has allegedly lost interest in the live-action Power Rangers show, and so Hasbro is looking for a new partner to develop it. James Gunn confirmed that Creature Commandos will drop on Max in December. He also confirmed an animated Blue Beetle series that will keep the same characters from the Solo movie. And in our final TV news, the International Annecy Film Festival happened last week, and WB gave a lot of new information that I already talked about over on TikTok, including new editions of Regular Show, Adventure Time, and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So, this is the point in time where I tell you to go click the links in the descriptions. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, like, hit the little bell notification so you're caught up on everything and you know even more information on other platforms. Now, in some very quick video game news, Arkham Shadow of the Disappointment will essentially be Arkham Origins 2, with the Rat King being the main antagonist. We will also allegedly be exploring Harley Quinn and Scarecrow's origins, with Roger Craig Smith starring as Batman. Killer Bean, the video game. Gameplay trailer dropped and it looks so good, and I will absolutely be playing it the moment it comes out. Also, a new Doom game is in development and it will be released in 2025, and it will be available on your Xbox Game Pass day 1. Also, Life is Strange Double Exposure will be releasing October 29th later this year. There's also a Perfect Dark reboot, and I will absolutely be playing it because I love the Perfect Dark series. And finally, Sony is allegedly working on a feature for the PS5 that will allow you to join Discord calls directly from the device. Insert joke about kittens here. And for our final little bit of nerd news for today, we have some casting announcements. Starting with Elle Fanning, who will star in the next Predator movie titled The Badlands. And this movie will allegedly be set sometime in the future. Ian McKellen was asked if he would return for Gandalf for the Hunt of Gollum movie that WB announced that we talked about last week, and he joked, "If I'm still alive." That joke aged terribly, as just a few days ago, he has since went to the hospital after he fell down some stairs in a theater. So we really hope he's doing okay, and that is not karma for making that joke. Johnny Depp is to play Satan, and Jeff Bridges will be playing God in a Terry Gilliam movie called The Carnival at the End of Days. Also, it will star Adam Driver and Jason Momoa. Now, while this did sound like an interesting movie, Terry Gilliam came out and was like, and quote, "It will be a funny movie for those who like to be offended." And of course, if you follow me on IsBe channel, you would already know that that's not a good thing to say. You shouldn't be going out of your way to offending people. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the Mr. Bertram video. Also, Michaela Hoover has been cast as Cat Grant for Superman Not Legacy. Knives Out 3 will officially star Mila Kunis, Josh Brolin, Glenn Close, Daniel Craig, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Josh O'Connor, Jeremy Reynolds, Kerry Washington, Daniel McCormick, and Thomas Hayden Church. And for our final list of castings on February 20th of 2026, Hugh Jackman, Emma Thomas, Nicholas Braun, Nicholas Galantines, Molly Gordon, and Hong Chow will star in a movie called Three Bags Full, a sheep detective movie in which a shepherd who reads murder mystery stories to his sheep is found dead one day, and his sheep set out to discover who killed him. And by God, cinema is back. Thank you for watching this edition of Nerd News. Make sure you call your loved ones. And as always, back to you, IsBe. Thank you, NerdBe. Now, that may have been a lot of information. As you can see, that is not the end of the episode. We do have some regular news coming at you right now with our first story, Mr. Beast, who has beaten T-Series with 284 million subscribers. Now, many people see this as a win because PewDiePie versus T-Series, while being a meme, also heavily symbolized YouTube being taken over by the corporations. You used to be able to make a random 380p video with a webcam and go viral, but now it's all algorithms and big productions compared to a guy like PewDiePie who just had a webcam. And while Mr. Beast might be doing bigger productions now, he's still just a guy making videos with his friends and not some company that is taking views from people who just have day jobs and want to make funny videos for the world. Mr. Beast is also making a big video, arguably his largest video ever, with dozens of famous influencers, as we can see right here. Tons of them from all across the world of all kinds. Now, speaking of YouTubers, influencer Alex Choi is facing legal trouble with the FBI after he shot fireworks out of a helicopter, which is apparently illegal, despite the fact that he did this on an empty runway with professionals and safety crew and no one got hurt. To me, this seems like a waste of tax dollars, but let me know what you guys think. Also, Twitter will allow X-rated content from now on their platform, which apparently they didn't do before. And within a week of that, Elon Musk announced the disables of likes. So you can't really like anything on Twitter anymore, which is weird because a big part of Twitter Blue was that you could private your likes. So bad economy or bad economics, I don't know. A lot of people think this is stupid because it should be optional and not mandatory, but let me know what you guys think. Also, Kanye West back in the news as he is being sued by an ex-assistant who claims he sexually harassed her, would send her inappropriate messages, and would masturbate while she was on the phone with him. Very Louis C.K. like. And speaking of criminals, charges were dropped against a Colorado man who killed his girlfriend's infant baby despite the fact that he pled guilty. Now, the judge was left no choice but to drop the charges after a DA did an interview wherein she told all of the criminal's personal information to a news source, essentially not allowing the criminal due process, which means he would have had an easy appeal, blah, 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 legal lawyer. Unfortunately, we do still have to do Law and Order. Also, David Hilliard, founding member of the Black Panther Party, was quoted in an article last week calling black... See, that's why we gotta take a break. Also, David Hilliard, a founding member of the Black Panther Party, was quoted in an article last week saying that Donald Trump was an ally of the black population, except for the fact that it wasn't him and his grandson came out denouncing the article, claiming that it was false and that they may be looking into legal action, which, of course, if somebody quotes you as saying something that you didn't say, you obviously have to. Pat Sajak, host of Wheel of Fortune, retires after 42 years, which is double the amount of time that I've been alive. Also, the first woman president in Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, was elected last week, and that is fantastic for her. Not so much for the other 30 other candidates that were executed during the election period. The United States also became a world champion of the Cricket World Tournament, World Cup, whatever it is. Americans love this because the majority of us didn't even know we had a cricket team to begin with. And honestly, neither did most of the members on the team because they all did it as a side gig, with one of the members having to put in vacation time to go take time away from his IT job to participate in this championship. This also rubbed a lot of the other countries the wrong way because while cricket is the second most popular sport in the entire world, second only to soccer, football as the rest of the world calls it, it's about the most 512th most popular sport in America, behind washing the dishes and arguing with your mother-in-law that Netflix's new password rules are not your fault. Christina Rock also went to Blueface's court hearing last week, but she also had a warrant out for her arrest, so as soon as she arrived to the courthouse, she was immediately detained, which is hilarious, and I would like to remind everyone that we allowed these two people to procreate. And in other musical jail news, Young Thug's lawyer has been sentenced to jail. Basically, Young Thug is currently on trial facing racketeering charges, and his lawyer discovered that there was a secret meeting between the prosecution and the judge and one of the witnesses, in which they basically blackmailed this witness into saying stuff that he otherwise maybe not would have said, but they basically threatened him, the judge being like, I'll throw you in jail if you don't tell me what I want to hear. Now, no one on Young Thug's team knew about this, which basically made the entire process illegal. Then, when Young Thug's lawyer, whose name is Brian Steele, spoke about this in the courtroom, the judge never denied that the meeting took place, but instead demanded that Steele tell him where the information came from and how he knew about it, which of course he doesn't have to tell the judge any of this, and after he refused, the judge sentenced Brian to 10 weekends in jail. Now, of course, there's all kinds of legal reasons as to why he legally cannot do this, but obviously this is a very serious problem, and thankfully Brian Steele is tough enough and did not cave to the judge's threats. And also, really funny, Brian requested that him and Young Thug stay in the same cell during the weekends that he was locked up so they can work on the case together, and the lawyer agreed, which is hilarious. Young Thug's lawyer basically got sentenced to 10 sleepovers. Now, speaking of sharing a cell, Hunter Biden has been charged with 3 felony charges and faces 25 years in prison, meaning that we, the people of America, should all come together and agree that Trump and Hunter Biden should be cellmates in federal prison. I mean, could you imagine that? It would be a whole thing. We can make a reality show about it. It would be hilarious, and I think everyone would watch. I think it's a great idea. Now, in other news, World War III has once again been trending as Russia has officially declared the United States an enemy. Now, they also sent some ships carrying nuclear devices to Cuba, and they were very, very close to the Floridian border. The United States also, within last week, made the draft automatic again, registering automatically to the federal government every male aged 18 to 26 for military service. And ladies, don't think you're getting off easy, because amid 2025, you will also be automatically registered for the draft depending on if these laws are passed. Now, in some food news, Joey Chestnut, the world champion hot dog eater, has been banned from the 2024 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest after he started representing the vegan food brand Impossible Meats, which is a hilarious sentence, and it literally sounds like something out of a South Park skit. Transgender swimmer Leah Thomas has been banned from the Olympics as they have in place rules stating that transgender women who transitioned after puberty are unable to compete in women's competitions. Now, not sure what is defined as after puberty, but I'm not an Olympian, so it doesn't matter. I don't care about the Olympics. They also do not have the same rule for transgender men, so women who turn into men will presumably be allowed to participate in men-based sports. Jerry West, aka The Logo, died at 36 last week. He was an NBA player, and the reason why he's known as The Logo is because that's him. He is the NBA logo. And our final story for today, KFC is experimenting with a chicken quesadilla, but it is only available in a few stores in Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and Tennessee. So, if you want this item to go worldwide, check it out if you're near one of these locations. And if you're like me and you live nowhere near one of those locations, let's just hope it sells really well and KFC puts it on the market. And with all that being said, that is your show for the week. Thank you guys for watching. Share this with a friend, loved one, or a dog. Leave some comments about the situations we've talked about this episode. And make sure you click all the links at the bottom of the description. And as always, my name is Dion, but you can call me IsBe. And now you're caught up on last week. See ya.